normally say, if you forget about Johnson, if you forget about moi, please don't forget about what? Kazi means it's work, right? My brothers and sisters from Congo say, you are beautiful, but please learn how to work, because you cannot eat your beauty. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are celebrating, yes, the beautiful things that are happening around, but ultimately we want to focus on the work that has been put in place, and that is why we want to award specific teams.
On 18th July, we converged here to launch the first ever East African Maritime Awards, and that was 3.5 months ago. We're here again to celebrate the winners. In between, I can assure you that a lot has happened. Many people have worked tirelessly because this is a new initiative in the region. We've had numerous meetings, very many breakfast meetings, telephone calls, press notices, and all this has culminated in today's event. The Kenya Ports Authority is focused on providing the best experience to you, our customers. We have fully concentrated our energies towards ensuring that we get a world-class services that surpass all expectations. Our team has worked hard, and we recognize that whereas we are here to make commendations to those of us who are standing, we have had to include a structured process of recognizing those among us who have done excellent services. I want to assure you that in this matter, the Kenya Ports Authority is no longer the judge, the jury, and therefore not the executioner. We went into partnership with an independent expert, and that is Think Business, who will be coming later, who have done the process of identifying the winners through an independent and competitive process. The premise behind these awards remains the same. For the industry to win, recognition from others must be made, and that we must recognize in this maritime sector those who deliver beyond expectation. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight makes the start of the winning journey, not just for the maritime sector, but the region as a whole. For those of us who've been users of the Northern Corridor, you will agree that in the maritime and logistics industry, a lot has been done. Gone are the days when long and manual documentation, uncoordinated multi-agency operations, infrequent stakeholder engagements, constrained yard and road capacity, and insufficient and ineffective equipment and lack of standard business procedures were the order of the day. Fast forward, the port of Mombasa and along the Northern Corridor, we have transformed remarkably. Port stakeholders who carry the owner's task of trade facilitation are raising standards on a daily basis. The distinction, therefore, between average and exemplary performance is very crystal clear. The report on the numbers is obvious, and numbers don't allow. And allow me just to demonstrate a performance that we at the port of Mombasa achieved just 48 hours ago. A vessel called the MSC Maxine made her maiden port call on Wednesday. The MSC Maxine is not a normal ship. It is 300 meters long, and it has a container capacity of 9,411 TEUs. And by all standards, one of the largest container ships that ever docked at the port of Mombasa. Many months ago, such a vessel would have slowed operations at the port. But let me tell you, gentlemen, that our staff were able to break yet another record. And this coming just on the eve of this event, were able to evacuate 1,450 moves within an 8-hour shift. This surpassed the previous record set in June by 20%. Please let us feel proud. Although we've not achieved our very best, a spot check of the current situation of the port and along the corridor reveals a very organized and professional logic chain, where strive towards service excellence is always the end goal. Ladies and gentlemen, much as we appreciate the positive changes that we've made, I must admit that without your sustained support, we couldn't have come this far. Hence tonight we feel very humbled and express our gratitude by awarding some of you for your contribution towards these achievements. These awards will create a vital platform that allows the industry to commend and encourage others to replicate these good practices. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to make a quote that in the arena of human life, the honors and rewards fall to those who show their good qualities in action. That is by Aristotle, a famous philosopher.
Wow. Show good qualities through action. Powerful indeed. And of course, the whole aspect of really offering world-class services that surpass expectations. And as the managing director put it, if you think Kenya Ports Authority was the judge,
it is an honor to have recognized Kenya Maritime Authority to come and give this note amidst all other institutions, and we are very happy. When you talk of standards and performance, we feel very happy, because we have been you'll find efficiency. Performance is what actually keeps us quite occupied in our offices at the regulator of the sector. And when we talk of an awards coming in, we are indeed very excited. And so when the MD talks of having made another hit just a few hours ago, that is very exciting, which means that it can be done. So what I urge you, MD, that which you have put, let it be your benchmark, and then spread it across all the other ships. And the next few times coming ahead, we'll be very excited, and we'll see a lot of improvements happening. We are very honored once more when the team that has been following up the preparation for this event, when the idea came, we felt this is very good, because in our aspirations as the regulator of the sector, we have wished to find how to do the rewarding, or what is commonly called the naming and shaming. But today is to recognize excellence, and we are indeed excited to see this happening. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the judges. Chief Judge Ismail Mboya was a director, former director of George Mboya. Yes, George Mboya, sorry. Mboya, they were named after one person. They were named after one person. Mr. Mboya, George Mboya, the Chief Judge. We want to say that this is a milestone that has been made in the sector. KPA for the past occasions has been rewarding those ones that they do business with. So when they bring this and recognize not only here in Kenya, but East Africa, we want to say we support this idea very much. And we undertake as Kenya Maritime Authority to see that this is done on a regular basis, and we assure you our continued participation. And I want to urge you that as we work on the frameworks of delivering performance, like in the Mombasa Port Community Charter, whose chairman, Mr. Gilbert Lagat, is here, he'll be speaking, please let us support that process. We look forward to entrenching this issue of identifying our performance indicators into a framework with Kentrade, Mr. Amos Wangora coming there, and the KRA to finish their system, so that we can have even a more structured way of recognizing the good performance. So without speaking much, I want to assure you that as the systems come into place and the charter comes into place, and Mr. George Olo, the think tank group, we are assuring you that you'll be getting even more refined ways of identifying the good performers. And with that kind of cooperation and support, I'm sure our industry is going to do very well within the space of the bigger blue economy. So with those few remarks, I just want to urge you just to relax, feel easy. I don't want to speak more than what the DG had briefed me. That is the march he stopped. So I'll just stop at that particular point, and I wish you a very good evening. Thank you very much.
This is the first inaugural event where we want to recognize those who have performed very well in the maritime logistics chain. As human beings, we normally tend to criticize and we forget to praise. But in this event, we want to praise ourselves, we want to acknowledge those who have performed beyond expectations, and thereby encourage people to perform even better. For us, these awards recognize all the individuals and the companies for the role they have played in trade facilitation, which is really what it boils down to, whether we are KPA, whether with Kenya Railways, whether with KRA or KEBS. The basic role that we have is to facilitate trade so that this country can grow. And therefore, for all the stakeholders who are here today, who have worked very, very closely with us, we thank you. We thank you and appreciate what you have done so far. As the MD said in his remarks, KPA is committed to ensure that we provide you with an excellent service, that we focus on customer satisfaction, that we have a good governance structure within the organization, and that we aim at growing our business for the entire region that we serve. For this reason, we have invested in a lot of infrastructure, and we are still investing in even more, so that by the end of the planned period, we'll have structures that cover both the ICT, the physical structures, the processes. We'll work on the business models such that KPA becomes a world-class port operator. We want to appreciate our partners in the logistics chain, in particular the government agencies that we partner with. And in this regard, I'm referring to the Kenya Revenue Authority, KEBS, KEFIS, and all those agencies that are involved in the certification business. And we want to recognize that without them, the whole process will grind to a halt. At the same time, we want to appreciate the support that we have received from the ministry in these challenging times, and we have been guided accordingly to implement new challenging processes, including the SGR, and I'm pleased to say that we have now overcome the initial obstacles, and the systems are running in a much better organized way. We would want today to congratulate those who have won the awards. We want to appreciate you. We want to encourage you to do even better, so that by next year we will be able to say we have moved from where we were at this inaugural event to a future where we can say all of us are performing at 99% as an entire logistics chain from end to end. So this evening, to us, it's an important day, and let me take this opportunity again to say welcome, and let's have a good evening and a rewarding evening for all those participants. I thank you.
I'm going to take you through the motions that actually led to where we are with these awards. And the whole story, I think, starts about 1.5 or so years ago, when KPA floated a tender, and what they did simply was say, I think they called a few people to, make proposals. We were one of them, and the brief was very simple. We want you to help us do a credible and independent award. So today is a culmination of all the effort that we put since that time. It's actually more than a year now. So I'm going to take you through what it is that we've been doing, because I think it is important that we all agree here today that there are certain steps you've taken that are very important towards making this a credible and independent award. The theme is very clear: transforming customer experience through efficiency. Now, you're all familiar with all these awards that I have on screen. And I think the truth is the only missing thing has been something out of Africa. I think they have some awards in South Africa, but obviously in this region, we needed to have something that sort of showcases what it is that we do over here. Let me obviously start by telling you about the initiative itself. I mentioned how Kenya Ports Authority played a very important role in this. Now, Kenya Maritime Authority, Kenya Revenue Authority, Ken Trade Network, Shippers Council of East Africa, East African Business Council were also part of this initiative. The initial step that we actually took was to set up a committee that comprised of representatives from these organizations. And the whole idea for us was that we have been running awards before, but nothing of this kind. So it was important that we actually sit and talk to stakeholders and understand exactly what it is that they wanted and how we were going to do it. Now, the aim was clear, as I've mentioned, which was to promote excellence in service delivery and to encourage innovation and competition in the industry. I have also come to understand the role that is being played by all of you through some of the things that you have. I've also come to understand the role that, the efforts that have been made by the industry in initiating things like the Mombasa Port Community Charter. And so the regulatory issues were also very key to us as we were sitting down to decide exactly how to run these awards. Now, this is the inaugural East Africa Maritime Awards, but I think let's start thinking about Eama 2019, because that's really where the focus should be now. Now, when you recognize excellence, I think one of the things you're trying to do is encourage competition. And competition is important because it helps everybody think about how they can improve their standards and perform much better. I mentioned how this happens all over the world, things like places like in Singapore, in South Africa, and the importance of, as KP and all of you know, being part of the International Maritime Organization, it was important that we also set the pace for this. So this provides a voice to port users, and not just port users, but also to the actual people who do business within the port and the general community. Most people out there do not really know exactly what happens at the port. Now, so what are we achieving with this? We are trying to showcase the high standards that are being exhibited in the industry. It's a platform also for the industry to commend and encourage those who perform well and help others to replicate what exactly the achievers are doing. It is a networking event. I think there are great opportunities for those of you who want to generate business here, because I think some of your business partners are here. So I would encourage you to spend a lot of time networking. Now, what are the outcomes? After this, I know what you're asking yourself is, after this, what is going to happen? These awards will be held today. There'll be there's a lot of learning that we have learned from this, the process and so on. But we're also going to showcase what has happened here through the media, both the print and television. We want to make sure there's increased awareness among stakeholders. I understand that there are still people out there who did not send entries because they are not aware of these awards. Hopefully, after this, and they start seeing people carrying home trophies, they'll realize that actually the awards happened. Now, this is how did we get started on this? I've put something on screen which really is our attempt to understand how the port works, the Mombasa port value chain. This was important because we wanted to understand the interaction between the different players in the industry, so that we know exactly who we would be covering and awarding. So what you have on screen largely represents all the people we targeted with these awards in terms of the different award categories. We are looking at cargo principals, importers and exporters, shipping lines and agents, clearing and forwarding agents, CFS operators, warehouse companies, the whole gamut of players in your industry, and I'm hopeful that we actually did cover all of you. So the award categories are what you have on screen: the best shipping line, best shipping agent, best shipping agent bulk, liquid, dry bulk, liquid bulk, cargo consolidators. You will hear that list as we go along, where we actually do have winners. I must point out that in some categories we did not have winners, not because we didn't have entries, but because the required standards were not met, and I'm sure that the Chief Judge will be talking about that. Now, the other key thing about this is that the target was not just the Kenyan market. This port serves the wider region, so our target was also to recognize a good performance in countries like Uganda, Rwanda, DRC, South Sudan, Burundi, and Tanzania, northern Tanzania. Now, the judging criteria. This is important because I think when you're talking about how independent, how objective an award system is, the judging criteria becomes very important. One of the ways that we actually used to develop the judging criteria was by talking to the different stakeholders and understanding what exactly we would need to look at to determine who is the best player in each of the different segments of the industry. So our judging panel was taken through that process. They're also useful in identifying what it was that would be critical in terms of assessing the different award categories. Now, I mentioned earlier that our world-class award system must be independent. So we had a judging process partner. And the role of the judging process partner is twofold. First, it is to participate in the selection of judges, and that is a very critical thing because you got to find judges who have knowledge of the industry and who will be independent and objective. The second is to ensure that the set criteria are there too, and this role was played by PKF East Africa, and I would like to commend PKF East Africa for the role they played in these awards, because without them we wouldn't be here today. So thank you, my brother. My brothers from PKF, for the role that you played in this. Now, the other key thing about running an independent and credible award system is that you must have something other than the entries you're receiving to use to sort of gauge if what these people are saying is what the market out there thinks. And to this end, what we did is that we used a market research company who we have partnered with for a long time, and that was InfoTrack Research and Consulting. And my sister Angela is here. Thank you very much also. Now, this was very critical. You'll see as we go forward, especially in assessing the level of satisfaction that the consumers of the services provided by partner government agencies have. So I think that's something that will be talked about by Angela as we go forward. Media and publicity is also a very critical element when you're talking about a credible award system. You want to pass the information out there and make sure that everybody knows what is going on. And even after the awards is held, you need to make sure that you can tell the whole world what happened. Now, you all know that I'm sure some of you do put advertising in the newspaper. It's not cheap. For this, we did have Nation Media Group, and let me say Nation Media Group gave us advertising worth more than 2.5 million shillings, and we are very grateful to the Nation Media Group for this. And I know Mr. James Ogoti, the General Manager in charge of advertising at Nation Media Group, came all the way from Nairobi, because I think this is a very important event. Thank you very much. Now, funding is another key thing that we considered when we were working on these awards. We had quite a number of financiers, but the key thing about an independent award system is that it must be funded by a variety of people. You cannot have only one financier and claim that we have an independent award system. So we did make sure that we got the support of players like Kenya Maritime Authority, Kentrade, who actually did put money to sponsor these awards. And I must also recognize Signan Global Logistics, who also did sponsor the one award category. So we encourage you to support these awards in the next year and going forward. So thank you very much to all of you who did sponsor the awards. So what happens after this? After this, as I mentioned, there's been a lot of learning. the judging process itself. So there'll be a report that will come from the judging process partner, which is PKF, to sort of take us through what we did well and what we did not do well. There will be a report from the chief judge talking about the judging process, and we'll also be putting together the feedback we got from various stakeholders. Now, this will be used in improving the awards that we will do next year. And that is important because there's been a lot of feedback coming to us about some of the things we did well in terms of the publicity and so many other things. Now, you can go back to this email address. This is important because this is where you get all the information. This website will be on and will be on for the next 1 year. We'll update it with what we'll be doing in 2019 so that you guys can prepare early. So I think that really is the end of what I have to say about the awards. But let me conclude by saying thank you very much to all of you who did send entries, because there's one thing you cannot do. You cannot have an award if there are no entries and if there are no winners. So today amongst you, there are people who will win awards. Some of you will not walk away with awards. But let me first say that it is not the end of the world. We've done so many awards for the last 15 years. And if you do not win this year, there's always another time. Next year, if you put more effort than you did this year, you certainly will win. So thank you very much. And this is a party, so you need to be in a celebratory mood as we get started with the presentations. Thank you very much.
Big round of applause to Bonaolo, one of the key partners. And as you can see on the screen, we have a list. The Planning Committee, Kenya Ports Authority, Kenya Maritime Authority, those are key sponsors there. Kenya Trade Network Agency, Think Business, PKF, Infotrack, Nation Media Group, Kenya Revenue Authority, so a big round of applause to all those who have participated in making sure that this not only is a success today, but it continues on in the years ahead. Now, talking about publicity, it's important to note that we have Mr. James Ogot from Nation Media Group, and there will be a supplement on the Nation in some days to come. So please note, we are taking photos, and as Mr. Olo said, make sure you are in a celebratory mood. We want to make it memorable. The Chinese have a saying that says, don't open a shop if you can't smile. And of course, we are well advised that a smile is the cheapest way to improve your looks. You don't need no makeup. And on that note, please put your hands together for Mr. Gilbert Langat, who is going to talk to us about the theme. He's the CEO, Shippers Council of Eastern Africa. Makofi kwake tafadhali.
Good evening, everyone. Allow me first and foremost, from the onset, to welcome all of you and appreciate finding time for you. You're finding time to grace this occasion of our inaugural East African Management Awards Gala Dinner. The awards is a strategic initiative of Kenya Ports Authority in collaboration with other partners drawn from both private sector and public sector, namely Kenya Maritime Authority, Kenya Revenue Authority, Kentrade, Shippers Council, and East African Business Council. And allow me at this point to thank and to appreciate the chair of the committee, Miriam. She did an extremely good job through this process, and we all appreciate your leadership skills. We actually saw a lot of leadership bringing all of us together, both private and public sector institutions. The aim of the awards is to promote excellence in service delivery while appreciating exceptional contributions by each of the players in the logistics chain to the economy by encouraging innovation, best practice, continuous improvement, efficiency towards overall excellence in the industry performance. Our objective as awards organizers is to organize players in the industry to meet and surpass set regulatory, operational, and performance standards while adopting international best practice in their respective service levels. We aspire as an industry to foster competitiveness while providing quality, innovative, efficient, and value for our customers. The theme of this year's award, Transforming Customer Service Through Efficiency, is actually very, very important to all of us, especially for all of us who are in this sector. As envisioned in the Mombasa Port Community Corridor Charter, collective actions towards trade facilitation will rightfully influence our actions through self-monitoring and responsibility in each of our parts that we play as a community towards the vision of the new community charter. Remember, we are just about to sign a new port community charter, and the vision of that charter is an effective, efficient, reliable, and globally competitive Mombasa port and the Northern Corridor. To achieve this, we must commit ourselves to ensure that we invest in quality infrastructure, globally competitive services, and value-add services. Today's winners will be awarded for working towards this vision. We expect the awards to create a competitive environment where innovation, efficiency, and cost reduction and value will take center stage towards the contribution of this sector to the attainment of the Big Four agenda that the government has put in place and make our port the port of choice in the Northern Corridor. We must be able to do our part as stakeholders to ensure that the maritime sector in this country, maritime and transport sector in this region, is actually effective and competitive globally, not just within the region, but globally. The fact that all of you have been invited here, we are winners. We must accept that the fact that you've been recognized to come for these awards means that you are winners. But those who will actually walk out today with an award, it means you've done something exceptionally well, and you'll be recognized by the industry as somebody or an industry player who actually values innovation, efficiency, and cost reduction. So to all of us who are here today, we thank you for having come for these awards, and we should ensure that going forward, we should have a more and more competitive value chains across our corridor. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Makofi nyingine tafadhali. Now, before I invite the judges, a quick announcement here that we also want to celebrate Siginon Group Limited as one of the big sponsors as well. A big round of applause for them. And an apology. James Sogoti, are you here? James Sogoti. A big round of applause to James Sogoti. I mispronounced his name, and that reminds me of an MC who stood to invite the chief guest, and this is what he said. Our chief guest made $1 billion in the US stock market. So when the chief guest came up, he said, "Thank you, MC, but I have a couple of corrections to make. It wasn't 1 billion, it was actually 2 billion. It was not in the US, it was actually in London. It was not me, it was my brother. It was not made, it was lost." So it's bad enough to be generally wrong, but if you're precisely wrong, that's dangerous. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Chief Judge, Mr. George Mboya. Makofi kwake tafadhali. He will come and also introduce his panel. Makofi kwake tafadhali.
I run the Institute of Logistics and Transport of Kenya, and I'm here today to celebrate with the players in the industry a wonderful day. It's a wonderful day to me because this is an industry that is quite fragmented. I am almost sure that 100% of the people in this room today did not envisage to be in this industry at high school. Quite a number even at university. I am absolutely sure that you bumped into the industry many times after graduating from college. In terms of that, it's a young industry. The first question that someone may ask is, why logistics and why now? The answer someone will give is that the trade across the world has changed. There are several issues that have connived to make trade different. One of it is globalization. The world is opening, and so competition across borders. So technology has made that even better. The combination of those two have made the customer we support nowadays very complex. A customer who will come to you not seeking solutions, but already have solutions for you to do for them. That is globalization, and that is technology, making the customer complex. So when you talk about efficiency, you must take cognizance of the fact that trade environment has totally changed. You can never approach it with the Dukawala approach of the 20 years and 30 years before. It has to change. And listen to what a great man talked about. That competitive advantage can only be achieved by two things. One is cost leadership. Second is differentiation. You do those two, Porter says you will be on top of the pack. And when I look at all the professions, look at legal profession, look at education, look at the other professions, it's only logistics that can give both. In other words, you are doing the right thing, but you are doing it under the table. I love lawyers. You will always know when lawyers are in a room. Logisticians, no. Maybe this will be a start for the change so that everyone understands what we do and so that governments can appreciate that logistics can create a difference. Porter said so, we are feeling the same, and I believe that if we do this, then the country, our region will benefit from what logistics has to offer, because it's the only profession that will create the kind of difference I'm talking about. The topic that we are talking about today is transforming customer experience through efficiency. Efficiency is people. Who is training logisticians? Very little is being done in that front. A few people who are very well trained have done it abroad. Is there anything that we can do? Maybe it is time that we talk of a practitioner's bill, an act of parliament that will tell us who a logistician is, standardization of sorts. At the moment, we do not know. Some people have done this area, they did it somewhere else, others have done this other area, and it's so diverse. Isn't it time that we start thinking so that when I tell you I am qualified in this area, then you can really look through it and understand what it is. So the role of logistics in trade and the renewed economy cannot be overemphasized. It speaks for itself. But we have a lot to do. Logistics is a profession, is it? That's a question that we can answer later. Need for standardization. I want now to go back to the award. What we looked at, what was presented, what our feelings were about them, and what future portends for this. I want generally to say that I would have expected, and the team would have expected a lot more participation, but maybe because it was the first time, and we took cognizance of that it was the first time that it was being done, we felt that many more organizations and participants in this field should have participated but did not participate. And the organizer made some remarks to that effect. There is need for publicity so that those who can participate, participate. There are cases where organizations which are ISO qualified, AEO qualified, had very poor presentation. We gave the judges a difficult job to award for non-presentation. If we had time, we would show you some presentations which are not more than a paragraph. And the criteria that we were judging the organizations were, and I will pick a few: the organizational background, the key projects and initiatives that you have in this field, operational excellence and evidence of it, business growth, innovation, customer focus, corporate and social investment, among other criteria. The presentation in some quarters was not commensurate with what is known of the various organizations. But that maybe was because of the time, either the time that was given or the seriousness of this event as was perceived by various organizations. Maybe in the next year we need to sensitize the would-be participants much better so that they know and appreciate the seriousness. The judges had the following comments to make to enrich the process and maybe to make it better in the future. Number one is to consider, over and above the technical that we were using, to also go into other areas like financial. Number two, encourage more would-be participants to participate. Number three, invite potential bidders for proper briefs before the actual bid so that everyone is clear in their mind what they need to put forth. And in the future, to ensure completeness and thoroughness, work with KRA data of exporters and importers. That would enrich this process. Consider metrics like turnover, and to encourage smaller players, we probably need to give them an opportunity under various lines of participation so that even smaller players feel part and parcel of this process. And finally, to share the reports of this year with the would-be participants and the participants of this year so that they know where they might not have gotten it right. I would like to say that not all categories were graded, and some were not graded because there were cut-off points, and some entries clearly did not meet the cut. And in such cases, even when there were just single entries, we did not grade them because we felt that would, in the end, lower the quality of this exercise. We also thought that in future we may want to consider other categories which were not participated in this year. Thank you very much for those few remarks.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're now at that place where we want to celebrate in a big way. As was noted, there will be no award for non-presentation. For what? For what? Non-presentation, absolutely. Now, before I really get into the awards, it's important to validate the judging process. And of course, as Bwana Ochieng Olo, CEO Think Business Limited said, there had to be a credible and independent awarding partner. So very quickly, I'd kindly call upon partner at PKF, partner at PKF, Larian Abreu. A big round of applause for him to validate. He's coming to validate the judging process before now we get into the awarding ceremony proper. Makofi kwake tafadhali.
Leaders of the maritime sector, and all other corporate organizations present here, the judges, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I've heard lots of people being named. Forgive me for not naming all of you. Good evening. The partners and management of PKF Kenya are very proud to be involved with the East Africa Maritime Awards as the judging process partner. Our role in these awards has been to provide oversight to the judging process. Whilst maintaining our independence, our main focus has been to protect the integrity of the outcome by ensuring that transparency, objectivity, and consistency is maintained throughout the judging process. These awards have been won on merit, as outlined in the awards criteria. In competitive awards such as this one, it is important to ensure that your entry demonstrates to the judges your response to each of the criteria and that it is appropriately structured. This was a great experience for all concerned, and I would like to commend the judges for their dedication and effort. The panel of judges comprised individuals based in Mombasa and Nairobi. We are pleased to say that the panel of judges consists of notable individuals with an in-depth knowledge of business, as well as accomplished professionals with years of experience in the maritime sector. The judging process required a combination of the judge's own knowledge and expertise, together with information from the entries received and surveys to make appropriate decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to state that we are satisfied that the judging process was fair, transparent, and objective, and that the results contained in this envelope in my pocket will be announced in a moment are a true representation of the judging process. We thank all the participants and congratulate the winners. This is the secret envelope that I'm now handing over to the MC.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've been waiting for. I believe you're ready. Are we ready? Are we ready? Excellent. Envelope is here. And we're going to start with the first category. The first category is Best Shipping Line. Best Shipping Line. I'd kindly call upon Beatrice Nyamoita, Director Transport KPA. For that intro. Then I'd request a staff from Alice Moisaka. A big round of applause to Alice Moisaka as comes ready to deliver the award. The first category, Best Shipping Line. Will be given. Now, let us hear.
And the best shipping line is CMA CGM.
Oh, CMA CGM. Runners up. Best shipping line. CMA CGM, please come and get your award. A big round of applause to him as he comes. Oh. Excellent, excellent. Now, ladies and gentlemen, first runners up. Now we are going to find out who the winner is.
And the winner is Maersk Line.
Best shipping line. Makofi yake tafadhali. Well done. Excellent. Big round of applause. Asante sana. Second category. Best shipping agent. I kindly call upon Dr. Architect Daniel Manduku, Acting Managing Director KPM, Kofi kwake tafadhali.
And the best shipping agent is Messina.
Messina, best shipping agent. A big round of applause. Well done, well done. Linear Messina. Linear Messina. Asante sana. Well done. Well done. Now. Please. I am sure we do not have jealous people here. And we made sure that is the case because I hope everyone has a gift bag. I hope that was the reason so that we celebrate every winner. Is that okay? Let's celebrate every one of them. Let's move on to the next. Excellent. Let's move on to the next category. Best clearing and forwarding agent Uganda. This particular award is sponsored by Ken Trade, and I'd kindly call upon Mr. Amos Wangora, CEO Ken Trade, to come. Makofi kwake tafadhali. Let's find out who's the winner. There can only be one winner.
The winner of the best clearing and forwarding agent to Uganda is Bolore Transport and Logistics.
Bolore Transport and Logistics. Best clearing and forwarding agent Uganda. Makofi kwake tafadhali. Well done. Asante sana. Now we move on to best clearing and forwarding agent Kenya. Sasa basi, Kenya. Once again, Bwana Amos Wangora, tunakuhitaji. Makofi kwake tafadhali. anapokuja. Kushukuru, asante sana. Hebu tutambulishe.
The winner for the best clearing and forwarding agent Kenya is Freightwell Express Limited.
Whoa! Muko wapi? Makofi kwake tafadhali. Freightwell Express Best Clearing and Forwarding Agent Kenya. Asante sana. Makofi yake Bwana Amos Wagora, tunashukuru. Asante sana. Now, number 5, category number 5. Best Regional Cargo Logistics Provider. Namuita Valentine Mwakamba. Valentine Mwakamba, njoo tafadhali utusaidie katika kuwatoza hawa wenzetu.
And the winner is Bolore Transport and Logistics.
Whoa! Excellent, excellent. Now. There was pressure for me to move forward to the next category, but I don't think I will ever forget this particular night if I did. And so I want us to appreciate we actually have a first runners-up for that. So we announced the winner before. Now, so I'd kindly call upon Mr. Valentine Mwakamba to come back again to give this particular award first runners-up. Makofi kwake tafadhali once again. All right, so the first runners-up.
First runner-up, Signal Group Limited.
Signal Group Limited. Poleni sana kwa karibu well done. Makofi kwao tafadhali. Makofi kwao tafadhali. Asante sana. Thank you. Next is Importer of the Year, Uganda. Importer of the Year, Uganda. I kindly call upon Mr. Job Kemboi. And this particular award is sponsored by Siginon Group. Mr. Job Kemboi, GM, Dr. Fadel Mutusaki Watuza. And the winner.
Wow. And the winner is Crown Beverage.
Crown Beverages, makofi kwao tafadhali. Winner, Importer of the Year, Uganda. Crown on their behalf, asante sana, thank you so much indeed. Online Bwana Kemboi bado kuna moja. Bwana Kemboi bado kuna moja. Importer of the Year Kenya. Importer of the Year Kenya.
The winner of the Importer of the Year Kenya, the winner is, I hope you are anxious, Del Monte.
Del Monte, Importer of the Year Kenya winner. Makofi kwa the father. Makofi yao nyingine tafadhali. Makofi tafadhali. Well done, well done. By Siginon Group. Now we move on to the seventh category. The seventh category is Best Cargo Importer. Transporter. Beg your pardon. Best Cargo Transporter. Best Cargo Transporter. Kindly call upon Mr. Juma Teller, CEO KSAA. Makofi kwa Bwana Juma anapokuja. There's only one winner here.
Okay. The winner is Siginon Group Limited.
Siginon Group. Winner, Best Cargo Transporter. Bwana Kemboi. Well done, well done. Makofi yake Bwana Juma kwa kutusaidia. Asante sana. Eighth category, Exporter of the Year. Exporter of the Year. Exporter of the Year. Let's kindly call James Rariea, Chair CFS Association. Makofi kwake tafadhali anapokuja. There's only one winner here.
The best exporter for the year is Del Monte.
Now, we want to celebrate, but at the same time we want to base the celebrations on facts and figures. And that is why it's important for us to know what this customer satisfaction survey that was done really means and its importance. To take us through that, please put your hands together for Angela Ambitho, CEO and founder, Infotrack Research and Consulting. Now, Madam Angela, there is a request that before you give the presentation, it would be important you give an award first. And we will move on to the 9th category, which is Most Efficient Partner Government Agency. And I'm sure we have the names.
So the Most Efficient Partner Government Agency, second runners-up is Kenya Ports Authority.
Big round of applause, Kenya Most Efficient Partner Government Agency. Makofi kwake. Government Agency, second runners up, Kenya Ports Authority. We do have a first.
So the first runners-up for most efficient partner government agency is Kenya Maritime Authority.
Makofi out, Avada. They're coming as one team. Well done. Asante sana, asante. Daddy. And now, the winner.
The winner, most efficient partner government agency is Kentrade. We don't only tell you who's winning or losing in politics. Actually, we make no money from that. What we do very well is market research. And we've partnered with Think Business over the last 10 years, I think, doing different, surveys for different awards in banking and insurance, and which other sector? Capital Markets Authority. And now we've gone into uncharted waters, can I say, and we're now dealing with the blue economy. It was very interesting for us to actually learn quite a bit about the ports and all the intricacies that, surround the blue economy. And as had been mentioned by a couple of speakers before me, the reason why we actually conduct these surveys is because sometimes when people give their entries, and if I was one of them, I would actually give an entry and say only the good things about me, right? I would not tell you the bad things, yes? And so the research is a validation process. It actually just validates from your stakeholders whether all those things that have been said by the different players are actually true, whether they hold water. And so that's how we, that's the rationale for conducting the surveys. I think when we do conduct these surveys, it's imperative for us to mention that we look at KPIs. The gentleman from the Maritime Authority actually mentioned key performance indicators. And what we did with the judges and the stakeholder teams is that we sat together and looked at a raft of KPIs that we could use to develop our tools, our questionnaires, to ask, the different stakeholders in the industry what they felt about different service providers and different government agencies. And what I'm then going to share with you is the consolidation of the results from that, particular process, where different KPIs were, tested by the respondents. And we used the Likert scale when we asked them to just rate their satisfaction based on those KPIs, consolidated those, and then came up with a mean score, which then becomes the satisfaction index. But before I do that, maybe I give you a few, snippets of what you said, because this was your survey. We asked the maritime industry, what are your most pressing needs today? What are the things that you want done? And logistics was mentioned as number one. That is one area that you all felt needs to be looked at. And I think, Mr. Mboya actually mentioned that this is what you people do, whether it's recognized or not. It is a discipline. And this is what, the industry itself is also saying is one of the most pressing needs. The other one is technology and innovation. So how do we implement a lot more, with technology and innovation? Documentation was also mentioned, safety and security, and over and above this, things like corruption, efficiency were also mentioned as pressing needs for the industry. So straight into the ratings, if we look at the service providers, then we have the shipping agents, we have logistics providers, we have importers, we have cargo transporters, we have cargo consolidators, clearing and forwarding agents, cargo freight stations, and shipping lines. And these were the scores that you gave each one of those players. So for the shipping agents, the mean satisfaction index was the highest at 85%. For the logistics providers, the satisfaction index was 79%. For importers, it was also 79%. For road cargo transporters, it was 78%. For cargo consolidators, it was 75%. Clearing and forwarding was 74%. Cargo freight was 70%, and shipping lines was 66%. When we look at the rating that you gave the partner government agencies, and I think that has already been overtaken by events, but for you to actually know the numbers, then Kentrade actually scored 70% in terms of satisfaction. Kenya Maritime, 69. KPA, 66. KEBS, 64. KRA, 63. Port Health Services, 60. And KEFIS 58. I put it on screen, but I don't know how to use your computer. I'm a girl. So, yeah, so there it is. Now you can see it, and Ochieng will help me. So Ochieng, I think I have one more slide. And then when we looked at the rating of, auxiliary service providers, those are people who provide support. Then we had SGS Kenya scoring 71%. We had Cotecna with 63, Intertech with 63, Mombasa Ship Handlers with 58, and Nudge Tracking with 58%. And these were all results from yourselves. We also asked, just basic questions on who the service providers use as their main financial institution, and I think you won't be surprised that most people talked about KCB, CFC, and Barclays. And we also asked them about the insurance companies that they use. Of course, there was also satisfaction of those companies, but we haven't included that here. It will be in the report that you consume. And there we had Jubilee, we had GA, AIG, and First Assurance as the main insurance providers. You may be asking how we actually conducted this study. That's the last thing I will be talking about. We got a list of stakeholders from the team, And what we then did with that list of stakeholders was we randomly, sampled respondents that represented the shipping agents, the logistics providers, all the way down to shipping lines. And we talked to you through telephone interview using our call center and using a structured questionnaire. And you gave us your responses on the various KPIs. Those KPIs were consolidated, and that's how we actually came up with the results. So no, Kentrade did not rig. KMA did not rig, neither did KPA. It was actually results that came out of, your own stakeholders telling us what they thought. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A big round of applause to Madam Angela. Thank you so much. Angela Ambitho, many thanks. Now we want to move on. We have categories. Next on line. Most efficient partner government agency. We are done with that. Now we come to 10th category, Business Initiative Award. Business Initiative Award. I'd kindly call upon Mr. John Omingo to come. Makofi kwake tafadhali as he comes.
The most business initiative of the year award goes to the first runners up, goes to Lorry Systems.
Business Initiative Award. Coapi. Representative receive the award. Makofi kwa tafadhali. Well done. Thank you so much. Now to the winner, Business Initiative Award.
Winner of the Business Initiative Award of the year goes to Nudge Trucking.
Asante sana. Next on line, Marine Cargo Insurance Award. Marine Cargo Insurance Award. Let's kindly call upon Mr. Gilbert Langat, CEO Ships Council of Eastern Africa, to come award. Give this award. And here there can only be one winner.
Insurance award. ICA Lion.
ICEA Lion General Insurance winner. Cargo Insurance. Makofi kwao tafadhali. Pia tafadhali. 12th category, Innovation Award. Innovation Award. At kindly call upon PJ Shah of Kenya International Freight and Warehousing Association. Kenya International Freight and Warehousing Association. PJ Shah. There can only be one winner here. Innovation Award. Representative. Asante. Makofi kwa tafadhali. Makofi tafadhali. Asante sana. Thirteenth award, Safety Award. Safety Award. Safety Award. And kindly call upon Ramadan Kajembe, Chair KFS. Makofi kwake tafadhali anapokuja. Safety Award.
First runners-up, the Safety Award, is none other Signal Group Limited.
Signal Limited, first runners-up Safety Award. Hey, bwana Kemboi tena. Makofi out tafadhali. Asante sana. Well done. Tumebakisha mmoja, mshindi sasa.
the winner, the SAFT Award. That is Bolore Transport and Logistics.
Awards left. 3 awards left. Top 3. Makofi yake. Asante sana Bwana Kajembe kwa kutusaidia. Tunashukuru. Now, Membership Organization Award. Membership Organization Award. Can I call upon a representative from Rwanda Freight Forwarders Association? Rwanda Freight Forwarders Association. The father, please come. Makofi kwake. Big round of applause for him.
This is Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industries.
Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mombasa chapter. First runners-up. Membership Organization Asante sana. One more now, the winner.
Who will split their aid society? Who will split mutual aid group society?
There you have it, the winner.
Who will split mutual aid group society?
Oil Spill Mutual Aid Group Society winner. Kenya. Makofi kwao tafadhali. Membership Organization Award, Kenya. Oil Spill Mutual Aid Group Society. Makofi kwao tafadhali wanapokuja. Okay. A representative. Okay. A big round of applause for them in absentia. Makofi kwao tafadhali in absentia there. We want to celebrate them. for what they've done, Oil Spill Mutual Aid Group Society. A big round of applause to Mr. Abdul Mvunangoma, Rwanda Freight Forwarders Association. Makofi kwake tafadhali. Thank you so much. Thank you. And now, second last. Auxiliary service provider. Auxiliary service provider. Not kindly call upon Ms. Rukia Rashid, chairperson. Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, a representative, Makofi Port of Dali, a representative. Only one winner.
And the winner is, my God, the winner is Nudge Trucking.
Now the final one. Kuna msemo wa Kiswahili unasema atangaye sana na jua mwisho hujua. He who walks with the sun for long knows much. And so this is one award we want to give out. And this is the Lifetime Achievement Award. And I kindly call upon the Chief Judge to come and tell us a little bit about this before we mention the name. Chief Judge, tafadhali. Joe. Makofi kwako tafadhali.
Today, we, the first panel of judges of the first East African Maritime Awards, are honored to bestow a lifetime award upon an outstanding globally recognized professional in the maritime sector. His distinguished career in the shipping and port-related industry goes back a long way to the 1970s. He successfully managed a government ports corporation turnaround from complete corporate paralysis to a robust forward. He spearheaded the introduction and implementation of ERP as an IT strategy for the authority and port community. This strategy won International Association of Ports and Harbors Gold Award in 2003 in a worldwide assessment for IT innovation and strategy. He led the commissioning of a 25-year master plan for the port and rolled it out to government, public, and regional stakeholders. This was also which was to receive Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi. He was invited and served as a group chief executive and chairman of Rift Valley Railway, Kenya and Uganda Limited from 2008 until 2012. He ultimately participated in restructuring to take Kenya-Uganda railway concession out of default and subsequently led the process of revising strategy and business plan crafted and recommended by America and Latino Logistica. He is a graduate of the prestigious London's Business School and an alumnus of University of New Orleans Port Planning Development Program. Other achievements he has had are Presidential Investors Business Roundtable, PIRT Advisory Council of the Republic of Uganda, Chairman, Kenya Shipping Agents Association, Board Member of the International Association of Ports and Harbors, IAPH Liaison Officer with the United Nations Environmental Program, Vice Chair, Port Management Association of Eastern and Southern Africa, Chair of the Indian Ocean Cruise Association. He has also been Trustee and Chair of the Life Governors of the Agricultural Society of Kenya, that is current. He is Chairman of Life Governors, Agricultural Society of Kenya. He has been Trustee and Life Member of Mombasa Sports Club. I am talking about a non-executive director of GIB Holdings, South Africa, which is a leading black-owned multidisciplinary engineering and consulting company with a solid footprint on the African continent. The firm offers design, planning, and management services and is a partner of choice for the private sector, state-owned enterprises, and the government seeking knowledgeable talent. In honoring him with this award, we recognize that as an accomplished strategist, reliable, hardworking, self-driven personality with humility, immense experience, strong transformational leadership, and mentorship track record, whose footprint has provided invaluable input in the tremendous growth of the maritime sector in the region. Some people have called him the captain of the industry. We also take special recognition of his personal leadership attributes in being a focused, decisive, and fearless corporate leader who never hesitates to take action, associating and going out of his way to support people who deliver by recognizing professional accomplishments and identifying partners who have contributed to the remarkable growth of the maritime industry in the region. We at EAMA have honored and hereby present Mr. Brown Ondego with this special award which appreciates his exemplary role in the use of best practices and insight in the provision of service delivery for the maritime transport sector. We call upon Mr. Brown Ondego to come over and hereby invite General Retired Joseph Kibwana, Chairman KPA, to come present the Lifetime Award. And Chairman of Ken Trade, Suleiman Shaban. Welcome. Thank you.
Excellent. Mr. Brown M. Ondego, Lifetime Award.
Ladies and gentlemen, power is never given, it is taken. Chairman, General Kibwana, Chairman Suleiman Shebal, Chairman mzee wetu, Chairman wa Kenya Ferry Services Kajembe, MD Kenya Ports Authority, ndugu yangu Langat, ladies and gentlemen. General, I think I finally get the farewell party that I so much deserved and I was never given. But let me also be fair. Kifwa, my friend Shah is there, and Isa Muslim is there, did give me a farewell party. And I look back at ourselves and the things we did, and I'm so proud because Kentrade was one of our strategic directions. It was never supposed to be a parastate of its own. It was to be owned by the community. And I hope that we will go back there. It was part of our 3-point strategy for transforming and revolutioning and taking KPA to 25 years ahead. The Shippers Council, where Langat is here, was a creation and a baby of KPA. So what am I saying? I think KPA had a forward-looking, I had a great team, and this award is not mine alone. It goes to the men and the heroes who could think about KPA in 25, 30 years ahead. I regret today to say, and architect, you have a big job. That management has been destroyed. You have a big job to build up that management that thinks forward and looks forward where we are going to go. And it's not an easy job. So this award, and I repeat, and I want to do it on behalf of everybody who has received an award here, is the men and women and the brothers and sisters you work with who support you to have a great team. That's the only way you can achieve this kind of achievements that we have. It is never one person. It's a question of how you can build that team and take it forward. So I'm really gratified. Thank you so much. I did not apply when I heard about applications and things like that. I said maybe I missed it. And I'm sure that citation that you've given me, my brother, I hope you've recorded it because I don't think my children will ever believe anything you said. God bless you. God have you. And thank you so much on behalf of all the recipients.
Bwana Brown, a big round of applause. Asante sana. We're coming to that place where we say thank you so much. Quick announcement. Honor of KBY 195Q. Please repark your car. A quick other announcement. Nation Media Group will be publishing a supplement to this particular event. That will be the Business Daily on the 7th of November, Daily Nation on the 8th of November, and the East African on the 10th. And of course the Nation team is here if you want to meet them.